Just as swiftly as the dark side of fate showed its ugliness, an unexpected white knight rode to the rescue. After 2 years of injury and disappointment, Greg Albertine blossomed like a flower in springtime for Suzuki's first Supercross win since 1991. The high drama of round one left almost everyone feeling 1997 will be a wide open, wild affair. Landmarks in Supercross history, the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. It's round two of the 1997 AMA Supercross Series. Art Ekman, David Bailey, Skip Norfolk, and Davey Coombs bringing you the action. The season began in dramatic fashion, leading us to believe that this year could turn out to be as competitive as we've seen in many years. The Supercross qualifying procedure, the top 4 riders qualifying from each 2 qualifying heats, the rest of the field moving on to the semis, where the top 5 transfer to the main. Only 2 more gate positions are determined then by the last chance qualifier. A 20-rider field for the 250s. Let's get right to the racing, gentlemen, as the 250s in heat number 1 are at the gate, including Doug Henry and Larry Ward, 2nd and 3rd place finishers in round number 1. Jeff Emig, a 6th place finisher. Jeremy McGrath finishing 15th place. Skip, he's definitely out now to make an impression.
Yeah, he's going to be a little bit more relaxed now, probably more than anything.
Got a lot to make up for. It didn't mean he wasn't going fast the other night in round 1, but he just got together. It looked like he had the whole shot, and it was going to be where he picked up last year, winning races, but it all went south in the first corner.
Gate is ready to drop. John Dowd, Lewis, Huffman, Craig also in the lineup. And it is Craig on the inside, number 15, with Henry, number 20. Breaking on with Michael Craig. It's bar to bar, but Craig takes the advantage. Number 3 is Jeff Emig in 3rd.
You see right there how scary it is in that opening lap. Everybody doing the triple. Still pretty close together. If one guy doesn't decide to do it, it's going to be trouble for everyone.
A much better positioning for David Huffman here in the qualifying round this time, as he's in 3rd place. Coming around the peristyle is Michael Craig. Craig, who looked so hot coming out of Europe, Skip, had the flu in the last round and then slipped off the lead.
He's out front now. He's starting to, he's going to have a little trouble there with Doug Henry, but the 2 of those guys seem to be stretching out just a little bit here in the opening lap.
In fact, both these guys, David Bailey, had the flu last week.
Well, this week was a whole different story. I talked with Doug's mechanic, Pete. He said that Doug went out to the desert and rode a lot more. He has a lot more strength this week. You can see him right there knocking on the door of Craig. Craig won't let him by. He's going to make him earn it.
Michael Craig, the only 2-time winner in the series of World Supercross this year. He's out in front of Doug Henry with Emig moving into 3rd. Here comes Jeremy McGrath into 4th. In the whoop section, passing Huffman. Huffman gets by Jeremy in a bar-to-bar battle between the 2.
You see Jeremy reach up and grab a tear-off around the outside of Huffman. The track is a lot softer this week because of all the rain. These guys are going to use those tear-offs more than last week.
Those guys are on the bubble right now because, remember, only the 4 top riders will go directly to the main event. Jeremy McGrath is currently in 4th.
There's going to be some first-string guys getting cut from this heat race. That's exciting.
Oh, it was wild not to see Kudrowski make it into the main event the last time. With Michael Craig out in front, Jeremy McGrath in 4th place behind Emig and Henry. We'll be right back with the finish of our qualifying round. To our qualifying round, the leader, Michael Craig, just went off the track. It is Doug Henry getting a challenge from Jeff Emig. Right at the finish line jump with Jeremy McGrath in 3rd and Damon Huffman in 4th. We'll take another look now to see what happened to Michael Craig right here, David.
Well, just as he starts into that right-hand corner, he lost the front end. There's a lot of ruts right there. You can't see from here, but his front wheel got on the high side of it, turned it sideways, and he got a stomach right into the handlebar right there. Now he's trailing around towards the end of the pack. He's definitely going to have to go to the semi now. Great opportunity for McGrath. He didn't get the start he would have liked. He's got a good look at the lead right now.
Henry, Emig, McGrath, Huffman, and Lewis.
Henry picking up where he left off. There's a little nosedive there. He's only able to go for the double.
Oh, looks like we might have a pretty good finish on board right here with Emig now picking up the space on Henry with Jeremy McGrath right behind in 3rd. His gate position as important in this one with the configuration we have as adverse to last week.
It's definitely going to be important. The better you do out of your heat race, the better pick you get to the gate. Heat 1 is always an advantage because they take you from the first heat, then the second. They alternate. So if Jeremy could pick up a spot here or two, he's going to have a great look at the gate for the main event.
Boy, Huffman can zip through those whoops, and he does so almost every qualifying round we see. Henry now pulling a little lead on Jeff Emig with Jeremy McGrath in third, and Huffman remains in fourth. You see Emig number 3, last year second in the points to Jeremy McGrath. Here comes Jeremy up the chute. They go to the peristyle jump. We'll see who comes out of that flat track race in front. Emig holding his position. Ward has gone down on the track.
McGrath had more of an opportunity to get comfortable with that motorcycle between the round 1 and tonight. It's got a little bit more horsepower out of it. You can see it was a dead even drag race up the peristyle, he and Emig.
There you see Larry Ward, who came into this race with not full strength behind him after getting the pin taken out of that broken leg and damaged tendons in the ankle. He raced last week on courage alone and placed third. But he could have been banged up, it looked like, on that crash.
McGrath still able to make a move on Emig. Skip, what kind of a signal do you give Jeremy right now?
Right now, you're just trying to pick up some things and look at different lines and learn from these guys. So if you're behind them in the main event, you kind of know what they're going to do, and then you make your pass accordingly.
It's Henry, Emig, McGrath, and Huffman. Huffman losing a little bit in the rut to Jeremy McGrath, so it gives him some breathing room.
It's going to be interesting. I think later on, as the night goes on, those ruts are going to come into more play as far as riders having difficulty.
Sebastian Tortelli, the Frenchman, is in fifth. Yeah, sixth position. He's out of the qualifying picture unless disaster strikes our leaders.
These guys are starting to spread out just a little. McGrath lost a little time.
Doug Henry, an amazing story, gentlemen. Coming back from a broken back and pioneering surgery to race once again, and now very competitive. He said last week, I am back.
He said the same thing to me. He is so excited about this racing season. He feels like he did 2 years ago.
It's showing, too. He's already starting to put some distance on Emig. This is what happened in the last round. Emig was up in there, and he just walked away. And the only guy that could go with him was Bradshaw.
Kyle Lewis is still in fifth, but he's way back now. Here comes Huffman making a challenge on Jeremy McGrath in the whoop section. He does it every time around, and Jeremy picks up space out of the corner.
Damon Huffman has an unbelievable ability with his body and those long legs to go through those hoops faster than just about anybody else out there.
Jeremy would like to secure this third place. Bobbles in that corner. There's a big rut there. Rains all week long here in Los Angeles. Really did a job on this track. Oh, going wide, Damon Huffman.
The track builders did an excellent job. This place was completely underwater Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, Lake Los Angeles in that starting area, really. I'm surprised they got it dried out as much as they have, but it has created ruts throughout the day's qualifying action.
This is no fluke. Some of my friends calling me after the race last weekend going, okay, what happened to everybody because of the way the guys that ended up on the podium, Henry, Ward, Albertine, it was a surprise, but it's no fluke. Henry is doing the same thing he did last week, pulling away from the country's best.
The 27-year-old out of Oxford, Connecticut, doing another great job as Jeremy McGrath holding off Damon Huffman.
Henry making up a lot of his time in the whoop section. You see these guys are hitting every bump. Henry's timing it through there, jumping 5-5. He's got a great rhythm, and he opens it up every time through there.
2 laps to go for Doug Henry, our leader, as you see Jeremy McGrath in third spot. Jeremy, does he look any different on the track, Skip, in this qualifying round than he did last week?
Yeah, he looks a lot better. Actually, I think the bike is set up a little bit better for Jeremy. They made some changes during the week, and he looks like he's not having any trouble doing his corners, and he looks more comfortable on the motorcycle. Time's going to be the best thing for Jeremy.
Well, he had the biggest game face I've ever seen on his face out there in the pits, ready for a good performance here in the second time in a row in Los Angeles Coliseum.
You can only kind of imagine the pressure or what the guy was doing.
Oh, Damon Huffman takes the big leap over Jeremy McGrath, and it's a fight out for third spot. Getting by the lappers now. Jeremy has to be a little careful.
What I think could be happening here, and it's always impossible to tell unless you talk right with the rider after the race, but last week Jeremy's arms pumped up a little bit in the heat race. That's what enabled Lamson to get in there and challenge it and force him into a mistake. That could be happening here.
White flag. This is the final lap. As Henry goes over the start-finish line, he's getting a challenge from Emig.
Oh, Emig's had a great lead this whole time. In the last lap, when you need it, he's got pressure.
Jeremy McGrath stumbling a little bit out of the corner in fourth. Oh, what a battle this has been. Our qualifying racing starting this year has been phenomenal.
Yeah, these guys are going after it right from the beginning.
Oh, and last week it was incredible. And here in the first heat, Doug Henry says, hey, last week was no mistake. But he's trying to hold off number 3, Jeff Emig.
It looked like something was hanging off the side of Doug's bike there on the right-hand side. It might be some of the reason why he's having a problem where he slowed up there, and those guys were able to catch up to him.
If you look at the bikes, Doug's bike by the number plates, he's got an extra piece of plastic riveted on. Jeff Stanton used to do that, so you don't get your feet hung up back in there on the number plates, where the suspension compresses and then swing arm comes up, you get stuck in there.
So the former two-time 125 East Supercross champion and a 125 national champion is headed toward the checkered flag right out of this whoop section.
You see Henry right there hopping through it. It's a lot easier that way. You don't have to hit all the bumps.
The checkered flag for Doug Henry, Jeff Emig, Damon Huffman, and Jeremy McGrath will go to the finals. We'll be hearing from our winner when we return. As he was leading our first qualifying heat, tumbles over the bars, and he'll have to go to the semifinals along with Ward and Dowd. Henry, Emig, Huffman, McGrath will be advancing to the main event. And right now, with that phenomenal Doug Henry, I don't know before the season started if many people gave him that much credit coming into this year, but I'll tell you, Doug Henry was not to be denied in that qualifying round, Davey Combs.
With Doug Henry, this is our race winner. Doug, 2 weeks in a row, playing the spoiler in the semi, or rather the heat race, I should say.
Yeah, last week, you know, my heat went great, and what can I say? My Yamaha YZ250 is just running great. Pete Steinbrecker's done a great job, and hopefully we go out tonight and win the main.
All right, one time is a surprise, but this is 2 times in a row.
Yeah, that's all right. I just want to make sure everybody knows that I'm here this year and I'm ready to race.
All right, we'll watch you in the main event.
Okay, thanks.
Davey Coombs down on the Coliseum floor. Consecutive rounds to open the season here in Los Angeles. And the track for tonight's second round, David Bailey, has a couple of elements I really like better. First of all, the start and then the finish.
Well, the start's quite a bit longer. These guys will just be getting into 4th gear, and the first corner is a big sweeper. They're trying to get everyone through there smoother. And the other thing I really like best about the track is you get a good run at the whoop sections, and just at the end is the finish line. So we may see some excitement there at the last lap.
There you see the lineup now for our second qualifying heat. The winner of last week, Greg Albertine, number 4th, Mike LaRocco. Mike LaRocco right there on the Suzuki number 5, along with Albertine, Lusk, Button, Bradshaw, Lamson, Hughes, Brown, Mike Kudrowski. Jeff Matasevich is trying to qualify before he goes back to Japan.
There's Albertine waiting to put his goggles on until the end. These guys like to get fresh air.
30-second board is up, and we're almost set to go for our second qualifying heat. It's Mike Kudrowski on the near side gate.
That could be a good place. If he gets a good jump out of there, he'll control the inside of the first corner. But if he gets squeezed out, he's going to have to put on the brakes, and he'll be at least mid-pack. There you get a good look at Hughes, just to the inside of Albertine. Hughes has been getting pretty good starts lately. This week he's a lot healthier than he was last week.
Michael Brown right next to them before he goes to Europe to race a complete season there in the 125s. Okay, number 8. You see him, Albertine, along with Lusk going wide. Lamson is in the middle, but it is Albertine with the whole shot. Bradshaw and Hughes are down. And it doesn't look like Hughes is going to have an easy time of it getting back to the semifinal round. Looks like he might have gone down so hard he hurt himself. Gets back on the bike. Got to head right for the pits right now. But that's not the composure and the composition of Hughes' personality.
No, that's not the style of Ryan. And again, out front, Albertine, just like Henry, wanting to prove to everyone last week was no fluke. It'll help him.
Mike LaRocco really impressed me last week, gentlemen, coming off a collarbone surgery just a week, and he didn't have a time as we take another look at the crash. Yeah, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, it looked like Ryan got into that soft stuff, got hooked up, sandwiched between some riders and went down, and Bradshaw had nowhere to go but right into him. Hopefully Ryan's okay.
Our leader is the winner of round number 1, Greg Albertine, followed by LaRocco, and second and third, it's a great one. Ezra Lusk, number 11, getting the challenge underway as Lamson is in 4th.
As Albertine goes around some of these tight corners and gets the signal in the mechanics area and sees his teammate back there, that'll help him relax a little bit more. So
here comes Ezra Lusk. Lusk really liking that new Yamaha machine. Settling back, looking for a way to get around LaRocco into second place. Lusk with good torque up the chute.
Now the interesting thing is that Albertine probably doesn't know this just yet. So he's going to think, oh, that's LaRocco back there. He won't do anything weird to me and take me out in the corner. And it's going to be Lusk.
Well, Ezra Lusk is really quite a story. I think he was over-encouraged coming out of a 125 championship and just had all kinds of problems adjusting to the 250s. In fact, at one time, David Bailey, you even suggested under your breath that they ought to have tried training wheels on it.
Well, you know, I just got off the hook with Albertine. I don't start anything.
I'm sorry to put you in the position.
I went and talked to Albertine after the races, and he's like, now eat your words. I'm going, hey, Greg, I always thought you did great. I just had to talk about something when you were falling down a lot. And it seems like he's got it ironed out. And
Lamson going off the track in fourth and gets back onto the track. It is Albertine, Lusk, LaRocco, and Lamson, that order, with Matasevich in fifth.
Lamson's starting to put some time on these guys. He's in a qualifying position, but like you mentioned before, the gate position for the main event, the way you line up, it's going to be crucial. He would like to move up a couple of spots at least.
Lusk looks like he wants to put the challenge as they come out of the flat track area on the peristyle. Skip, a great attitude with Albertine. He wasn't too high. He was just telling me, I know I can win now. I'm going to try to be consistent and cool.
You know, being a former world champion, he knows and understands what racing is about and winning races. And he understands that you got to get back down to reality to keep on going.
Some of our best action has come from the qualifying heats this season. More coming up. To Ezra Luska's bang-banging bars with Greg Albertine for the lead. LaRocco just sits back in third with Lamson on his fender. But Ezra Lusk is doing everything he can to get around number 8. Albertine protecting his line well, David Bailey.
He's doing it. He's not doing anything wrong either. He has the ability and he deserves it, really, to protect his line. He's the guy leading, but it looks like Lusk is a little quicker at the moment, and psychologically it'd be a big advantage for Lusk to get around and not give Albertine any more confidence after last week.
There are the top 4 who would go on to the main event if they stay upright and in that position. Albertine and Lusk thrilling the crowd. Lamson now starting to move in on the third place rider, Mike LaRocco. LaRocco, as we mentioned, just coming off shoulder surgery.
All these jumps now are starting to get a lot of ruts in them. You can see guys fishtailing around.
Here we go, Ezra Lusk is taking the lead.
Look at the way he gets to that whoop section. He jumps in and then gasses it, grabs a handful of throttle, jumps about 5 more. That's what Wyndham was doing in the 125 class a little bit earlier. A steady 5th place performance in the first round. Ezra Lusk is going for the guns. LaRocco and Lamson battling for third. Lammy taking to the inside. LaRocco holding on. Lamson trying something different.
Yeah, going wide on that peristyle. That doesn't look like it'd be too easy to do with the flat track style of dirt up there. Well, you can go out there and use it, go out wide and use some of that soft dirt and a little bank berm out there and take a chance. He's not going to pass LaRocco if he follows him, so why not go out there and hope LaRocco makes a mistake, take advantage of it. LaRocco riding steady in third place on that Suzuki as Lamson, the lone Honda rider in the 250s, holds on to the final qualifying spot. Do you think there's undue pressure on Lamson, self-imposed maybe, because he is the lone rider, Skip? Well, you can only imagine there is. You know, you have the weight of the whole Supercross series on one guy's shoulders. That's a lot of weight to have on one person's shoulders. LaRocco goes off the course in a battle for third with Albertine. He missed the finish line jump. I don't know what they're going to say about that. Normally, they would want him to go back and complete that jump. There was an opening in the track, a place where he could have gotten back on, but he didn't pick up a spot, and he slowed down and rejoined the action, so hopefully I think they'll let it go in that respect, don't you, Skip? Usually that's how it is. If you don't gain a position, they'll usually let it go. And he slowed down sufficiently, not even a challenge for the next position. That really takes you out of your rhythm, too, because you're wondering about it. Here it is again. He got a little off balance, went to the right. If he'd have been a hay bale there, he probably would have crashed. Went right through the opening. You see him looking at Lamson there. That's almost what happened to Bradshaw in the first round last week. Was he got a little off course, hit a hay bale in those whoop sections, and went down on the first lap. Back to our leader, Ezra Lusk. the most impressive performance we've seen this young man perform on a 250 beside the World Supercross season.
What a shot in the arm for Yamaha right now. With Henry winning the first heat, pulling away. You can see that Luss has got kind of the same technique through the whoops. These guys talk on the headsets.
Lamson now trying to make a move on Larocco. Larocco's in, or I should say Albertine in second place. Larocco in fourth. Lammy right between the two Suzukis. It's Jimmy Button, number 18, who's picked up some space on the bubble in fifth.
This is that flat corner. You can see Lamson tracks through that pretty nice and straight, gets into that berm. You can see these guys, the front end washing out a little bit up there because they go up and the front end, the suspension's a little light, and then they got to make that corner. And it's not a whole lot of traction. It's going to get slipperier there all night long, and it's a little dark as you come out of that corner. Hard to see that berm.
Both you guys have been to Europe. You know that KTM four-strokers that goes around sounds a little like a noisemaker in Paris.
Yeah, you can hear it. Some of those guys that are in the stands there make some noise, and you definitely hear that motorcycle out on the track.
Well, the rumor out there is that Henry is practicing on a four-stroke for the outdoor season in 250, Skip.
That's what you've been hearing, and you know, there's been some photos of the bike around here and there that you've maybe been able to look at.
White flag lap, final lap for Ezra Lusk in the battle with Lamson, now tightening things up with Albertine for second place. Number 8 is Greg Albertine. Number 4 on the Honda is Steve Lamson.
You can see how much time he made up through the whoop section. And if that's going to be right before the finish, if he's close enough to Albertine on that last lap, he may be able to make that pass.
You know, something else too is that flat track turn up there at the top of the peristyle is really hard and dry. It's a little different than the rest of the track, and sometimes if you're not careful and not thinking about that corner, it can catch you off guard.
The tires they use out here are more for the soft soil, and so you get up there, they don't work as well. So.
You know, we've got a close race really for the final transfer spot. Jimmy Button is pulling up on Mike Larocco. There's Larocco, Albertine, number 8, and Lamson for second and third. But Button boxes up Larocco, and they both go down in the corner. So fourth position is still to be determined.
There's Larocco just getting going. I think he's still going to get that
flag for Lusk, Albertine, and Lamson, and we will have to wait to see who will finish in the final transfer spot. Coming up, words from our winner. Ezra Lusk, number 11 from Team Yamaha, getting by last week's winner Greg Albertine in our second qualifying. These are the 4 riders advancing to the main event as Mike Larocco was able to get up after that collision with Button to take the final transfer spot. Let's go to Davey Coombs now, who's with our winner.
All right, thanks, Ezra. Like last week, you got 5th place in the heat around the main event, and tonight you come out really on fire. Does it do anything for your confidence to have passed the winner of last week's race, Greg Albertine?
Well, you know, it's a really tough class this year. Everybody's pretty much equal on the track, and it's tough. Greg rode a great race, and I don't know, I just tried to get out there, and I had a few good lines, and I think I just closed in him on those good lines and just tried to pick up the pace more and more, but I didn't really want to make a mistake. But yeah, it gives me quite a bit of confidence, but I knew I could run up there. I was real tight last week, and I just feel a whole lot different now.
Okay, you were a very quiet 5th last week. Could tonight be the night for your first 250 main event win?
Anything can happen, and I've been working a lot. I've had a lot of support from Yamaha, and it's just, if things are working great, I'm having a lot of fun out there, and I wish I could have got a little crazy on those jumps, but everything's a little rutted, and it's a little tough out there, so you guys got to work with us.
All right, well, good luck at the main event, Yogi.
Thanks a lot.
Guys like Bradshaw, Hughes, Kudrowski, Button, and Chicken are going to go to the semifinals. We'll be on to the semis in a moment. Move the 97 Supercross season to the floor of the stadium now with Davey Coombs and tonight's Dunlop Track Fact.
Thanks, Art. Last week in the first turn, we had a right-handed first turn. Now, that creates a big problem for the riders because what happens is they come in, they have to take their right foot off the back, off the foot peg, off the brake pedal as well. And what happens there is the riders are not able to brake for each other. We saw Jeremy McGrath get the whole shot coming off the start, and then he got piled up in the first turn. Now, this week, the promoters changed it around. They went with a left-handed first turn, which the riders like a lot more. There's still a point of contact down there, but there's one problem to remember. On the inside of the track, track after all this rain they had all week. The first turn is very tacky. There might be some points of contact here as well. We'll just have to see what happens. If they can get through this part okay, the pileups will be down there. Thanks, guys.
Okay, Davey.
Well, it's like a decreasing radius, and they're trying to slow everybody down. There you get a good look at the space between the knobs. That's what everyone's using to hook up on this tacky soil, but because the starting line's a lot longer, they're getting just into fourth gear. Then they hit that tacky stuff, and that may be what happened to Hughes, and then Bradshaw got into him.
Okay, the top 5 riders now will advance from the semifinal rounds to the main event. And our first semifinal round features Sebastian Tortelli, the young Frenchman, who impressed a lot of people in the World Supercross Tour. Americans Kyle Lewis and John Dowd, Phil Lawrence, Michael Craig, Ryan Huffman, John Kalos, Matt Shue, Jeff Head, all trying for a spot in the main event, along with Larry Ward, who crashed. 30-second board is up.
Good look at Larry Ward right there. A little fidgeting before the gate drops. You can see the tearaways there. He has them set up to the left. He'll reach up with that clutch hand and pull those off. If he doesn't get a good start, he'll need all of them.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how he performs after a very hard crash, Skip.
You know, sometimes right now they've had a little bit of break, and the bruises are starting, the muscles are tight, and it may be a little difficult for him to get warmed back up and go.
Okay, with the board sideways, it can drop at any second. Michael Craig, the good start with Ward coming from the outside. Ward going wide, Craig to the inside.
Larry Ward came out of there smelling like a rose. He was on the far outside, went all the way around the outside of everyone, stayed clean and out of trouble.
Kyle Lewis is currently in second place. The young lad out of Las Vegas, Nevada, who's racing a few races here in America before in April he will be going to Japan.
That's deja vu for Mike Craig. He's got the lead again. Now I think he'll be a little more careful this time in some of those sections with all the ruts. That's what cost him in the heat.
Okay, it's Michael Craig, Kyle Lewis, Larry Ward, Sebastian Tortelli starting to put some pressure on Ward. And then after him, it is Phil Lawrence. Top 5 going to the main event out of this one. They certainly don't want to have to chance it going to the last chance qualifier. Whoa, Michael Craig really raised up the wheelie that time.
Going into that corner where Craig crashed in the heat, Larry Ward swapped around a little bit. John Dowd's at the tail of this pack, just out of a qualifying position, so he's got to get on the stick.
Things are really tightening up, aren't they? Because Dowd is in 6th position, putting the heat on the bubble man, Phil Lawrence. Michael Craig into the triple.
That's one place you don't want to be is the last chance, because there's a lot of pressure on you.
Well, look at what happened to Kudrowski last week.
Anything happens in the last chance, you're out of the main. These guys want to be in the top 5.
And you can't make money unless you make the main event. It makes for an expensive weekend.
Yes, it does.
Tortelli in 4th. It's Craig, Lewis, Ward, Tortelli, and Lawrence.
Lawrence has been riding with a thumb that not sure what he did to it, but a couple of weeks ago he came up short on one of the jumps and jammed it. He's out there riding, doing the best he can, but it's really tough for him to hang on to the handlebar, and I'm pretty sure it's his left hand, so that means he's got to reach out with a couple of fingers and grab the clutch. His thumb's got to do a lot of work.
It's coming right down to these two guys right here. John Dowd down with a good move on Phil Lawrence. 5 more riders will make the main when this semi concludes. We'll be back. Leader is Michael Craig, but here is the real battle as Sebastian Tortelli, the young Frenchman at number 103, is getting quite a lesson from the Americans. He's right behind John Dowd. Dowd is in 4th position, so Tortelli would qualify if he can hold off number 12, Phil Lawrence. Lawrence is right behind Tortelli, as you see him right there coming into the picture, number 12.
He's hanging tough too. I just was talking about the fact that he's out there riding in pain. He didn't break his thumb. He didn't dislocate. He just tore all the tendons in there. It's really sore. He has
tore all the
taped up.
tendons.
Yeah, it's still very
and you
painful.
know more than anyone, it can be more painful, really, torn tendons than a break.
Just the vibration on the handlebars is enough to make you cringe, and he's out there doing the best he can, trying to get his way into the main event. Looks like he might have to go to the last chance qualifier because he's starting to drop behind just a little bit now.
Michael Craig out of Lakeside, California, 27 years old, has the big lead. Kyle Lewis in 2nd with Larry Ward in 3rd. There's Michael Craig, our leader. He was leading the qualifying heat. You might remember when he went head over heels in the corner to give up the lead and have to go to the semifinal round.
You really got to hand it to Craig, too. He's had some great highlight reel type crashes, but he gives it everything he's got. Every time he goes out there, he's giving it 100%.
Yeah, who can forget back in 1994? I know you can't, Skip, when Michael Craig said, yeah, Jeremy McGrath is beatable, and you went out and beat him in Tampa.
Yeah, that's one thing, you know, Mike never will let anybody beat him off the track. He's going to do everything he can on the track. And you just can't beat the guy off the track mentally. You got to prove it to him on the track.
Right now, he's got a sizable lead on Kyle Lewis. Lewis not making a move, and here's the battle for fifth with Tortelli and Lawrence. This is the bubble spot right here. Whoever takes fifth will get the last transfer.
Their last lap, Lawrence had lost a lot of time. Now Tortelli has faded off the pace from Dowd. Those guys are pulling away, and Lawrence can smell it. He doesn't want to have to ride any more races before that main event, put more wear and tear on his hand.
Michael Craig, our leader, out of the San Diego area.
Larry Ward.
He's not far from home, and he's got the whole family here. He was looking for extra passes right before race time. Final lap. The battle for third now is tightened up. John Dowd, number 14, with a challenge on Larry Ward. Ward can't be feeling all that well after that tremendous crash in the qualifying heat. Came into this week not at full strength. I asked him what's the toughest part after that pin came out of the leg and the ankle wasn't yet healed. I asked him what was the toughest part on the bike. He said, not on the bike. The toughest part is walking the track.
Yeah, you see him limping. I was like, you know, is anything wrong? He's like, no, I feel good. He felt really good after practice today, but that crash in the heat race had to take a little wind out of his sails, and now Dowd is taking advantage of it.
Well, Ward can make it into the main event. You remember last year he came off the European season with a broken thumb and missed some races. Lost a lot of points. This year he decided, hey, as he gets the challenge from Dowd, Dowd moves in now to third place. Larry Ward can still qualify, though, but Ward is just out there to get points.
That's a good line down that straightaway to stay to the inside.
Michael Craig, the checkered flags. Our official results of our first semifinal round, and we'll hear from the winner when we get back. Next race on ESPN2 coming from the Phoenix area, Tempe, Arizona, Sun Devil Stadium, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be 6 p.m. out on the West Coast.
A friend of mine told me, try America Online. I said, why? I've got a computer. He said, try it. You'll see. It's simple. Every time you sign on, welcome, it tells you if you've got mail. You've got mail. Want to send some email? Type the message, click here, and it's done. I like this. With one click, I can browse all kinds of great features on America Online. I've gotten help with my golf swing, planned my next vacation. I even get stock price updates every 15 minutes. America Online has over 100 newspapers and magazines, everything from Business Week Online to Cycle World, and I can browse them all. With America Online, you can point and click your way across the internet. And their web browser makes it easy to explore the World Wide Web. Call the toll-free number and you'll receive your free startup kit and 50 free hours to look around. It's worth a try. You'll see.
New unlimited internet and AOL for one low price. Call 1-800-817-1600 for your free 50-hour trial. Call now.
All right, I'm directing the show. Let me tell you something. It's all about new ideas, all right? Because we got to stop this guy. This guy's flipping so fast. I'm flipping so fast, I don't know what I'm watching, right? But wait a minute. What's that? Michael Chang? Snoop Doggy Dogg doing a crazy breakdance, popping and freaking number? What is it? I don't know, but I stopped flipping. I'm watching the ESPYs, and I like it.
The ESPYs with Jeff Foxworthy, Nicolette Sheridan, and John Ritter, February 10th at 7:30, presented by No Fear and General Motors.
I've never seen this before. Good. Okay, how about some of this? What's this? What's this?
We are in round two as we see the checkered flag in the semifinal round number one for Michael Craig. That's no dishonor, let me tell you. The winner in the first round came out of the semifinals winning. That was Greg Albertine. As these five riders now going to the main event. Phil Lawrence has to go to that last chance qualifier. Let's hear the words from the winner with Davey Coombs.
All right, thanks, gentlemen. Mike, you threw it away in the heat race when you were winning. No problems that time.
Yeah, last week I came here, and like 2 days before the race, I got really sick, and I think from racing in New York so much, and I just had no energy. And right now, I slept all week, and I came here and I feel really good. And the heat race, my speed was there. But I don't know, I'm going to give it all I got.
A lot of guys thought that the Honda Detroit team was going to be one of the strongest teams, but you didn't have the kind of start you wanted the season. I know you had a crash tonight. This would be your second Supercross win. If you could win here, what would that mean to you?
Phil of Honda Detroit, Johnny and Merritt Oakley, those guys have done a lot. I've done a lot of homework this past winter, but you know, I mean, if I get to start, I'm going to go out there and I never say die.
All right. Right on, Stingray. We'll watch you in the main event.
Thanks very much.
Michael Craig didn't have that easy a time of it. Look at it here, David Bailey.
Whoa, that gives you an idea how much power these bikes have now. These things have so much torque to get over those doubles without a run. He just slid to the back of the seat, grabbed a handful, and that's why.
That looks like it's from my highlight reel going down the street.
These guys grip the side of the bike with their legs. They have everybody's seat now is made out of this tacky, I don't know what the material is, but it hooks up, almost pulls their pants down.
Number 10, Damon Bradshaw, alongside number 9, Ryan Hughes. We've got some awesome talent here in the second semifinal round. Kudrowski, Bradshaw, Button, Swink, Hughes. Just to name a few. Jeff Matasevich trying to get in shape before he goes to Japan. Michael Brown, another name. 5 riders out of this round going to the main event.
Bradshaw and Hughes, who were in the first turn together, gone down, had to come from last. They're starting right next to each other. Apparently they've made up.
Yeah. I don't know. They weren't speaking to each other.
I don't think there was anybody's fault. Just bad place, wrong time.
Damon Bradshaw, you can tell it when you talk to him. He's a different person right now. He's having fun racing. He's having fun in life. He and his new bride moving to Idaho. You know, and he really loves that Manchester Honda hookup, Skip.
He's really happy with that new team in Manchester Honda. He's really low pressure, just having fun.
Here we go. Number 21, Michael Brown, going wide.
See the tail of the pack, number 10 there, Bradshaw got a terrible start again.
And in second place, looked like Billy Binkley. No, it's Michael Chamberlain. Michael Chamberlain. And now Mike Brown out in front. Coming off the peristyle. It's Mike Kudrowski moving into second place.
Kudrowski with a much better shot here at making the main event than last week. Getting caught up with Brian Swink in the semi, and then the last chance again in the first corner. Going down, had no chance to make the main. He had the speed, though. I talked to him. He goes, yeah, I learned. Talked to Phil Alderton, the team owner of Honda Detroit. He said, you know, we'd like to get Mike up in the top 10 this week. Not put a lot of pressure on him. Just get him back up in there and get the ball rolling.
Michael Chamberlain, Jason McCormick. We got a lot of riders who have to be challenged by Ryan Hughes and company. Some big names back there in danger of going to the last chance qualifier. Hughes is in 6th as he puts the pressure on now to try to move up a notch. Here's Mike Kudrowski. Great to see him back in racing.
There's Hughes in 6th. 4 places further back is Bradshaw. Both these guys have a lot of work to do to get into a qualifying position.
Boy, Michael Brown's impressive. He's starting to pull away from Mike Kudrowski. Nice little breeze here in Los Angeles. This is only the second time in Supercross history that they've run 2 races in the Los Angeles Coliseum in the same season. Brock Glover winning back-to-back nights here the only other time in the Coliseum. That year, well, he has more wins here in the Los Angeles Coliseum than anybody. Brock Glover with 3 wins. Out in front, it's Michael Brown, and he's doing a nice job keeping the lead on Mike Kudrowski in 2nd place. And Michael Chamberlain has not been challenged for 3rd. As Ryan Hughes has moved up to 5th. Right behind him is Brian Swink. There you see the order of things. Mike Brown way out in front. We'll see if he can hold on to that lead when we get back.
If you need a
led from the very beginning. Hughes making the move. He's still in 5th position. Can't quite get by.
Matasevich is tough. He doesn't ride that many races over here. Rides in Japan.
Oh! Going flying behind the track there in the whoop section was a rider, and I couldn't pick up his number at the time as we take a look back at the battle for 5th spot.
Looked like Hughes had the move made on Matasevich. Matasevich shut the door. Tough guy to pass.
Swink. Well, that's Jimmy Button, number 18. Jimmy Button went flying on the far side. I couldn't pick up his number until they rolled his bike away. But a bad break for Jimmy Button, who's been running pretty well in the last couple of weeks.
This has got to be frustrating for Hughes. He's got to think that he's faster than a little bit more experience in Supercross, since he does it all the time than Matasevich, but Chicken's riding good here.
I don't know. Ryan Hughes last week had that food poisoning, lost all his strength, had a bad crash earlier. I'm not sure he has the strength that Matasevich has right now.
Now, he may not. That's probably what we're seeing right now. And it doesn't seem that long ago that Matasevich led the Supercross series almost all year before he lost it here in LA.
Oh, that was a heck of a crash.
He's dialed into Supercross, even though he doesn't ride that many.
Okay, still out in front is Mike Brown, but he's starting now to get a little challenge from Mike Kudrowski. And here's the battle for 3rd. Ryan Hughes in 4th, trying to pick up things on Jeff Matasevich. Matasevich, one of the most colorful riders that ever got into the game of Supercross.
I was watching practice today, and this 951 was looking pretty good. I'm like, who the heck is 951? And I saw him in the pits walking around, and he looks happy and healthy. Riding good here in the semi.
Making good yen in Japan, too. He won that series last year, I believe.
Yeah, he's pretty happy over there. He's taking advantage of the situation that he has over there to go racing every weekend and enjoy life.
Semi-final number 2. Rather anticlimactic right now, and it's been one of the only races so far tonight that we haven't had some really tremendous bar-banging action.
Well, it's not over yet, especially when you got Hughes and Matasevich close to each other. This section right here that they're in, you can see how these guys are getting sideways off the jumps.
Hughes concentrating on smooth technique, goes to the inside. Matasevich, though, comes out on top still, going through the whoop section. Check it out, white flag lap. Brown still in the lead with with Kudrowski in 2nd. Matasevich in 3rd, takes the big rut. Ryan Hughes right behind him. Oh, this could go down to the wire. Phil Lawrence has moved into a qualifying spot, but Bradshaw is on the bubble now.
Bradshaw was dead last going into the first corner. Has put on an incredible charge to catch these guys. It may be too late.
Bradshaw needs to move up 1 position as he hopes to get to the main and avoid a last chance qualifier. We are on the last lap. Looking to come down that peristyle. Matasevich 951. Ryan Hughes right behind him. It'll be hard for Bradshaw to get up past Lawrence. Bradshaw, number 10, comes into the picture for the Manchester Honda, trying to catch up on Phil Lawrence, number 13. He's looking for the right avenue, Skip.
Yeah, he is. He's tried everything. You know, now there's 4 guys racing for this bubble spot. Anything can happen out there.
Ryan Hughes slipping back a couple of positions.
Bradshaw's got to stay close to have a shot at it in the whoops. That's what makes his whoop section right before the finish so exciting.
Matasevich, Lawrence, and here comes Bradshaw, battling it out with number 9, Ryan Hughes. This is for the final spot. The checkered flag went to Mike Brown. Ryan Hughes edging out Bradshaw. So we had a race after all, David Bailey and Skip Norfolk. A run for the glory coming up.
And Jeff Ward. Ward within striking distance and an outside line through the peristyle. Rides right around Jeff Stanton and into 2nd place. But Stanton, so tough, never giving up. Stays close enough, and a few laps later, back up to the inside. Ward leaves the door wide open, and Stanton rides right through it into 2nd place. George Holland, who had never won a Supercross, looked like he just might pick up his first one here, but Stanton squares him off, sets up the move perfect, and passes his teammate, taking over the lead for good. Stanton, who'd already wrapped up the title in 1989 in Oklahoma, put the icing on the cake with the win here at the LA Coliseum.
Stanton filling in for the injured Ricky Johnson on that one. Here is the last chance qualifying results while we were away. Jimmy Button and Damon Bradshaw filled out the team of 20 riders for the 250 action. Kevin Windham, dominating winner in round 1 of the 125s, but tonight, due to the new rule, he'll have even more competition on the track. The 125 rule, riders from the East, not in last year's top 10, can run for practice, not points, against these Western riders. Now, guys, this has turned into kind of a controversial ruling.
It could be a little bit controversial because you know, if the leader is going to have the opportunity to maybe gain some points on the other riders if the East Coast riders are between him and the West Coast riders.
Let's go to Davey Coombs and see what that situation is causing now down in the starting gate. Davey.
All right, thanks, guys. There's a lot of stuff going down here. The situation, of course, is that the 2 East Coast riders, Ricky Carmichael and David Pingree, did very well in their heat races. Now, the 2 West Coast guys, the regular guys who this race counts for, they didn't do so good. Now, you get to pick your starting gate according to position. The word is the pro circuit's going to pull a swap. They're going to have the East Coast guys, after they've already got their gates established, move over here to the outside and then put the regular guys on the inside. One problem, Jim Brown from the AMA tells me that's not legal. You're only allowed to go to a starting spot that is not occupied at the time, so we have to see what happens. A lot of teamwork in. I don't blame them for trying that, but I'm not sure if it's legal.
Well, with 22 riders at the starting gate in the 125 action, there's not very many open gates down there.
No, I don't think so. And we heard that the Carmichael and Pingree were just going to take off and let everybody go and catch up, not figure into the points. They don't get any points anyway, so just go out there, get your feet wet, get some experience. It'll be an advantage when the East Coast races start, but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
We're looking at the Suzuki starting grid now, and while we do, let's go back down to Davey.
He did make the switch. I see Casey, or rather David Pingree on the far outside. Carmichael's over there, and now I see the AMA. They're starting to move around. We got some people pointing. I'm going to keep you guys posted. I don't know if you can see, but the AMA is all over the place.
There you can see Windham. He's looking around, looking at the AMA official like, hey, what are you going to do about this?
Robbie Raynard, second in the first round of action. That's his father, Robert, rubbing his arms down, trying to keep that circulation going, David, right?
Right. I talked to Robbie after last week's event, and he said that he felt good for the first 6 laps. He felt like he had the pace and everything he needed to challenge Windham, but then he got tight. By the time he got his second win and loosened up, Windham was gone. Trying to do all he
for
can.
a moment there, Davey Pingree. I'm just, the intent of that 125 rule was to give those out of the top 10 more practice time, get them more experience, but I think it's going to backfire on them.
It had some potential to backfire. The one thing it's going to do is the East Coast guys that are riding here tonight, when they go to their first East Coast race, the first race jitters are over for those guys. They're ready to go racing. The top 10 guys don't know really if they're ready to go racing.
Let's go back to Davey Coombs and an update.
Again, these guys are on the outside. The pro circuit guys did tell me that no matter what, okay, I see they're making a change. Now Carmichael's pulling out. They're getting ready to move David Pingree as well. We can see him down here. The AMA put a stop to it. Okay. Now, no matter what, Chad Watts, who is Ricky Carmichael's mechanic, has told me that they will hold back. They're not allowed to charge him to get to the triple jump. So the pro circuit double switch didn't work, guys.
Well, so we go back to the pre-race rumors that the 2 guys from the East will hold back and let everybody take off and then see how many riders they can pass for the experience and the fun of it.
And I think that's a great way to take advantage of a rule that I don't necessarily agree with. And, you know, this is really, I mean, imagine you're already nervous on the starting line. There's plenty to think about. These guys don't know where they're supposed to start. They're switching back and forth. Looks like the football is lined up. Those guys don't know where they're supposed to stand. Who's going to take the ball?
It'll be interesting to see Stefan Roncada of Honda of Troy, who's a 125 East rider. Number 125 is Dave Villeman, but Roncada, number 112, is going to go for him. And yet he has no points to gain. He can't earn some bread. There's Decker. What a story. We chronicled his story last week. Coming back from the broken back. And to be so competitive like he is. There you see the 30-second board. When it goes sideways, that means they've got between 5 and 10 seconds before that gate will come down.
Talked to Casey Johnson after practice. He said things are going to be different this time. Last week he got stuck in the gate, a little over anxious, tried to guess it. He knew he'd have to get a great start to challenge Windham there right there on your screen. Wyndham's been phenomenal out of the gate. I don't expect that to change tonight.
We're set, ready to go for the 125 main event from the Los Angeles Coliseum. Windham gets out of the gate pretty good, but on the inside they get sandwiched, and flying through the air is David
Wyndham almost got caught up in that, did an incredible job to save it. What a pileup. Wyndham lucky to get out of that.
Travis Hodges also piling into some mechanics over there. And they've got a medical situation underway as we take a look now coming out of the peristyle. It is Robbie Rayner in the lead.
There's a look at Pingree. He's not getting up too quick. His handlebars are bent completely down. Here's the replay. Watch Wyndham get sandwiched. Locks handlebars, saves it somehow. And just behind him, Pingree's doing an endo, and these guys in front of Wyndham go completely off the track into the spectators.
Look at Wyndham, hang on. 27,831 fans going crazy as we get another angle on it. That's okay, nothing's changed up front. As Robbie Rayner has established the lead with Brian Deegan in second place and David Willemine in third.
This is a great opportunity for Rayner right now. He seemed to have what it took for the first half of the race last week, round 1 against Wyndham. Now he's got the opportunity. He's going to get out there, establish a rhythm while Wyndham's trying to work his way through the pack. It might be just what he needs to get to that finish line first.
In sixth position, there you see him on the move against Nathan Ramsey. Ramsey from Team Suzuki out of Dixon, Tennessee, looking for a couple of podiums this year. Would like to show Wyndham a wheel or two, but he says, I don't expect to be that competitive. Right now, he's trying to hold his position on Wyndham.
Last week we saw just how good Kevin Wyndham can ride out front. Now we're going to see if he's going to be able to pick it up and do the same when he's got to pass some guys.
I have a feeling Kevin's only going to be looking at the leader. He'll be keeping an eye on Rayner. His mechanic will be giving him those signals. All these guys in the middle don't really matter.
Wyndham gets by Ramsey. Wyndham is now 7 seconds in back of Robbie Rayner, our leader. So Kevin Wyndham on the move has the challenge in front of him. Roncada is just in front of him with Willemine, and then it goes to Deegan, and then our leader, Robbie Rayner. We'll be right back with Robbie Rayner in the lead after these messages.
1/900 pro racer.
In the 125 main event, the young superstars of this sport, at least their future superstars, Kevin Wyndham right now, you can almost put in that category. After dominating the first round here in the Los Angeles Coliseum, he has now moved up to 5th place after getting in quite a bit of close action in that first turn. Robbie Rayner is still our leader out of Norman, Oklahoma. Rayner on the Primal Honda. Brian Deegan is behind him. Deegan holding well in second place. Then it's the two Frenchmen before we get to number 1, Kevin Wyndham. Wyndham with 6 wins last year, winning the 125 Eastern crowd.
That first turn had to get Wyndham's heart pumping. Probably took him a lap or two just to go, okay, hit it through that. Get back into his pace. If he looks up the track, he can see all these guys right in front of him.
Starting to close in on Roncada. Roncada is the only Eastern non-points runner in this race. And Willemine is starting to close in now on Brian Deegan, number 2. There it is as they battle for second up the chute to the peristyle.
As these guys start to battle in second, and third, and fourth, they're going to allow Robbie to get ahead of him and get out there and go. And Robbie needs to take advantage of this and push as hard as he can right now.
You can already see that starting to happen just a little bit. And Wyndham's behind all these guys. He knows he's got to make quick work of all 3 of them to have a shot at Rayner. Once Rayner gets out there, he won't make any mistakes. He looks pretty relaxed.
Willemine, a pretty interesting story. He's the number 1 rider, 125 rider, Supercross-wise out of France. Picked up a job with Chaparral. He is running the entire season now for Chaparral. Brian Deegan and Willemine are going at it.
Wyndham has been so fast through the whoops tonight. We'll see if he can make a move here.
He's past Roncada. Oh! A big crash. Kevin Wyndham.
Got a little bit out of his timing. He jumped in.
He's in 6th place right now, trying to restart. And holds on to 6th. Take another look at this one.
He got into one bad bump, hit it with the front wheel, cased it. Did a good job to get free from the motorcycle, not getting pounded into one of those jumps. But I would imagine he fended up pretty good. It'll be hard for him to get back in the race.
Here's our leader, Rayner, with Deegan, Willemine, Roncada, and Ramsey.
Now, Rayner can go out there and with the lead he's got, pick up a win, and the points battle is really going to change.
You know, you talk about the toughness of different athletes in different sports, but when it comes to Supercross, it's incredible. Here's Robbie Raynard, who had a broken neck in an arena cross, getting ready for last year's Supercross season, and he's back here in the lead. Oh, Wyndham having trouble again.
Well, the hard part was that as soon as he got up, I mean, I have to think that he tweaked his bike a little bit. Maybe the front wheel's going one way and the fender's going another. And as soon as he got going, he's got 4 guys right on his tail, pressuring him.
Right there, Allie trying to wave him on. Allie Seymour. Let's go down to Davey and see what that situation's all about.
Okay, I'm down here with Allie. Allie, your rider. Those are the first mistakes we've seen him make all year. What are you going to tell him?
You just got to keep pushing. You got to try to get as many points as he can. He can still get up to second. So hopefully.
What happened to him on the start?
Somebody hit him in the first turn and pushed him wide, and he was way back. I think it was like 6 or something.
Okay, what we're seeing right here is what happened to McGrath last week, guys.
Thanks, Davey.
That's a good point. If you hang out in the back, you never know what's going to happen. If somebody makes a mistake, it's your mistake as well. That's why it's so good. It's such an advantage to get out to the hole shot and let all that stuff happen behind you.
That's Decker right behind Wyndham in our picture, Craig Decker. And he's putting on pretty good pressure on Wyndham. Wyndham looks like he's lost his confidence just a little bit.
Well, I'll go ahead and give him that. Geez, over the handlebars, and pretty spectacular endo in the whoops, a section where he's been aggressive all night and finally got the best of him.
Here we were talking about dominating seasons in Wyndham, with the possibility of maybe sweeping the 125 Western Division, is now in trouble. Who will win the checkered flag? We'll come back and find out. A 6-second lead. Welcome back to our 125 main event with Robbie Raynard out of the lead, but a great battle here for second place. Milliman is looking at Brian Deegan, number 28. Milliman, a good pressurized rider out of France, has got a lot of experience. Tremendously popular over there.
You see both riders starting to square that corner and try to use the inside, because as you jump down off that peristyle, it's a little dark up there, and it's getting rutted as you jump down. So they're trying to go to the inside where there's no rust. That's going to make it tough for the 250s a little bit later, because the tractor won't get a chance to go up there between these main events and fix it.
Milliman took a 5th place in this first round at Los Angeles last weekend. Now losing a little space to Brian Deegan.
Deegan riding good. This is the best I've seen him ride in a long time, maybe if ever. He's starting to close in a little bit on Raynard now.
Team Moto Triple X on that Honda from Bellevue, Nebraska.
Raynard just came through the mechanics area and had to see that on the board. I'm sure they let him know that they were gaining a little bit and see if he can open it back up.
As we said last week, Raynard says, hey, I got no expectations this year, but after tonight with Tom Wallace, his wrencher, they're going to have more expectations with a second and a possible win here tonight.
You know, he has the opportunity to leave here if things stay the way they are with the points lead, and that's one thing that he hasn't been in that position in a long time.
He had a very good ride in round number 1, even put a little bit of pressure on Wyndham early in the race before he slacked back.
He's got to be real happy with himself right now. He's riding good. He's out front. Those guys are closing a little bit, but he's probably keeping the close tabs on him, just looking at him throughout the race on the track.
And, of course, you as a mechanic, Skip, you'd keep him posted, right?
Yeah, the main thing right now, if I was telling, Robbie anything, I'd say, hey, Wyndham's way back. Stay relaxed and ride your own race.
Taking a look at the Honda stopwatch now to see if we can check an interval. Looks like about a 3.5-second lead, so they have picked up a bit. And we'll check out the field and lap time. Ramsey and Rancata in a battle for point.
Wyndham dropped about 11 seconds back, but it's pretty amazing that what he's been through, he's still that close to the lead.
Really? And lots of race to go.
He may be able to salvage a few more positions before the end of the race. He's got time.
One thing he has on his side is strength and endurance, and that's going to play a factor here in him coming up to the front at the later stages of the race.
Something that could happen is he could come back after this race, let's say, and win 4 or 5 races, and if Raynard stays second in all of those, he gains enough points here, he may still hang on to the points lead. So Wyndham's got to be aware of that. I'm sure Allie's letting him know. Points, pass more guys, and get close.
Checking out the stopwatch. What do we have, a 1:10 time last week here?
1:10. The 250s were about a 1:10 today. The track's a little different this week, but I don't know what the 125s are doing. I would imagine a little bit slower.
Okay, as we check it out, will it be close to that 1:10 time with Robbie Raynard out in front? 1:11.5, not bad at all.
A little slower. I guessed right again.
Track conditions are probably, you know, there's more ruts here than there was last weekend. It's a little bit more technical because of the ruts. It's going to be a little bit slower.
Okay, let's go down now to the floor of the stadium, and I understand Davey Combs is with Tom Wallace.
Yes, that's right. I'm with Tom. Tom, listen, you guys got about 6 laps to go. I know you've never won a Supercross. Robbie's never won a Supercross. So you tell him to relax and just charge.
He's just got to go for this. He's getting arm pumped real bad, like out testing and racing, so he just needs to dig really deep and go for it. So we're telling him to attack, hang in there and try and get this one.
All right, we'll see how your strategy works out, Tom.
Tom Wallace, certainly not from Oklahoma. As looking, it's tightened up the action. Brian Deegan, number 28-24, Robbie Raynard. Raynard has got a battle on his hands from an unexpected rider, Brian Deegan. Whoa, what an upset of events right here for Deegan. Raynard, though, hanging in.
Raynard almost got him back there on the inside. He probably could have overshot that berm a little bit and taken Deegan out, but why get ugly right here? He's still got a shot at the lead. Maybe they both could have gone down. His mechanic said his arm's been pumping up. I got to think that's what's happening to him now, because he's faster than what he's showing us right now.
125 is Villamy. And he's hanging up there close to Robbie Raynard, looking for a possible pass into second place.
And the amazing thing is, not very far behind these guys, and may start popping into view, it's Wyndham.
These top 3 guys racing
incredible.
Right, yeah, these top 3 guys racing so tightly is slowing them down a little bit and allowing those guys from behind to pull right up on them.
Once Wyndham can see these guys, I think that's going to give him inspiration, and he'll pull out all the stops.
He's got Ramsey in front of him, and there you see Villamy making the move on Robbie Raynard. So Raynard now moving back to third. It's obvious that he's having some pump problems.
That's the worst feeling in the world as a rider. If anybody's ever done with those little hand squeezer tools or to try to get in shape when your arms pump up like that, you can't use the throttle, you can't use the clutch, you can't pick your line, everything just goes south. And right now, not far behind is Wyndham.
But right now, the spotlight is on Brian Deegan, and he looks inspired. He's starting to pull a lead on the second-place rider, Villamy.
Right now, he's just on pure adrenaline. He's leading this Supercross race and having the best time of his life right now, and he's just wanting to hang on and keep it going strong.
Kenny Watson, his mechanic's got to be jumping up and down for that new independent team, that's for sure. As we look at Raynard, and here comes Wyndham right on the tail of Ramsey.
Little mistake there by Deegan. Mistakes like that are going to be costly. You see Wyndham right there just making the left. He can see those guys now. He's closed probably 2 seconds a lap. There's still time enough for Wyndham to win. That would just be unbelievable.
You know, guys, this kind of reminds me about the time that Jeremy McGrath was so dominant in 250s and all of a sudden didn't get a very good start. Skip hadn't come up through the field and win it that way.
You find out a lot about your rider, about how big his heart is and how good his determination is in a situation like this.
Here is the battle. Robbie Raynard's not going to win this one as Ramsey slips into fourth. Wyndham having problems right behind him. He could pass 2 of them at one time, maybe, if he gets the right angle. Here's our leader, Brian Deegan. Villamy, number 125. Ramsey, 38. Raynard, 24. And Kevin Wyndham.
What a battle. Wyndham almost off the racetrack. Here he goes into the whoop section. This is where he had all his problems. Now he's taking the far right.
Here comes Kevin Wyndham. He'll have to take the outside track. White flag lap coming up. Can he get by him? Yes. No. Bar with Raynard. Oh, what a battle. He comes off the corner in the lead of Raynard and has Ramsey in front of him.
Unbelievable charge. We saw Rick Johnson do this one year here. Went down in the first corner. Had to catch Guy Cooper before the end. Got him right at the end and still won the race. It's possible, and Wyndham is showing us.
And for those Ricky Carmichael fans, the young 17-year-old is way back about mid-pack.
Little little bobble there by Wyndham.
Deegan, Villeman, Ramsey, and Wyndham in fourth.
Now Rayner trying to retaliate. He's only got about a quarter lap to go. He's going to give it everything he's got and try to take those points away.
This has got to be the thrill of his young career for Brian Deegan. As Wyndham goes down, the checkered flag, and Deegan lets his bike fly into the air. Standing with his arms in the air, Deegan just launched his bike off the finish line jump, hugged by Kenny Watson. Oh, what a day in the life of a youngster in the 125 action, and how disappointing it must be for this young man, Kevin Wyndham, just now crossing the finish line. Well, the run for the 125 checkers is over, and what a dramatic upset win by Brian Deegan. Look at this great crowd on hand here in the Los Angeles Coliseum, and we'll be back to hear from that excited winner in a moment. Los Angeles Coliseum, as we see #1 Kevin Wyndham, the defending champion with 6 wins last year, dominating the first round, goes down.
He jumped too far into one of the faces of the jumps. His front wheel landed in the rut. There was nothing he could do about it over the handlebars.
And the excited win as we see him launch the bike at the finish line. Hey, his first victory. Let's go down to Davey Coombs. Davey.
All right, thanks, people. Hey, listen, Brian Deegan, congratulations. First of all, what happened at the finish line?
All I have to say, the first time I won in Supercross, I promised myself I would do something that no one else has done yet.
I think that was it. Hey, I know your mechanic, Kenny Watson, was running around. He was freaking out. He was so happy. What's it mean to you and Kenny as a team?
It means a lot. It's a big step for the privateer teams because we're out here and we mean business, and we're going to mix it up with those factory guys. And me and Kenny have been working real hard, and my trainer, Mark Smith, just been pushing my butt so hard.
Hey, is your dad here in the stands?
Yeah, my dad flew out. Thanks for coming out, him and my brother. Glad they're here to see me kick everyone's ass.
Okay, thanks, Brian.
Well, we'll crack that up to excitement, I guess. Can you win a race and not be on the bike at the finish line?
Well, he just did. And I thought Greg Albertine was excited last week. That was nothing.
Okay. Taking a look at the points leaders now. Robbie Rayner would take over the lead in points with 41 points, with the Frenchman Villemin moving up to 39 points. Taking a look at the celebration of Brian Deegan. That's one way to do it, is let the bike fly. As the celebration begins now for the 125 riders, the 250 lads are getting ready for tonight's main event. After all kinds of exciting preliminary action here at the Los Angeles Coliseum, Art Ekman, along with Skip Norfolk and David Bailey. Guys, after looking at the preliminary action, we can't ignore Team Yamaha right now. Doug Henry, a very strong performance, an equally strong performance from Ezra Lusk.
Those guys actually practiced all morning together, and apparently it's paying off. Those two looked really good in their heat races.
What does Jeremy got to be thinking about now, Skip? Because, you know, hey, things are getting tense now.
Jeremy's probably not real happy with his performance in the heat race, but he has the ability to turn off what happened in the heat race and be a different person in the main event.
David Bailey, Bradshaw having to go all the way to the last chance qualifier. We've seen winners come from the last chance qualifier, but he's lined up on the far end of the gate.
Well, that's not such a bad thing. I remember Anaheim and Bradshaw's first U.S. Supercross win. He had to ride a preliminary qualifier. He got there late because he didn't have his goggles or something, and he got the whole shot. He kept getting the whole shot from there, had to go to the last chance, and he won the Supercross. So it's possible.
It'll be interesting to see just how he tries to maneuver in and get good positioning now, as all the riders going through their pre-race routine now, shaking out their arms, adjusting their goggles. There's Damon Bradshaw with a focused look.
He's going to have to get a good jump from out there. Larry Ward did it in the semi. If Damon can do that, he hasn't been doing it all night, but he only needed it once, and he's due.
Jeremy McGrath, #1. 15 is Michael Craig, who looked very good in the qualifying, despite crashing, of course, in the opening qualifying heat. Came back in the semifinals to win it. 32nd board is up now. It's get nervous time, especially for the mechanics behind the riders that don't have that sense of control now.
You know, you always pump them up and you tell them what they need to hear. this coin right before the gate drops.
Yeah, we've heard you on mic a couple of times, Skip. You do a pretty good job on that. What would you tell Jeremy right now?
Think about the gate. Nothing else matters.
Board sideways, so 5 to 10 seconds, and this round number 2 for the Los Angeles Coliseum of the 1997 is underway. Jeremy McGrath to the inside. It's Ezra Lusk, the whole shot. He picks up the $1,000. Larry Ward, though, comes out of the corner in the lead. Ezra Lusk and Larry Ward. Albertine goes down, number 8. Out in front is Larry Ward. Lusk, Henry, Moira bars. They go up the chute, and Jeremy McGrath is right behind them.
What a disappointment for last week's winner, Albertine, now having to come from last. Now he's going to know how it felt for Lamson and McGrath last week.
And what a break for Larry Ward. Larry Ward came into this season all banged up. They got the pin out of his leg just the day before round 1 last week.
He's got to be thrilled right now. He knows that if he plays his cards right, he's probably going to get a podium, but right now he's going for the win. If he can open up a lead, maybe those Yamaha teammates will be battling amongst themselves, give him a little bit of cushion. If he doesn't have any pressure, he can pull away. We've seen him do it before.
Coming down the whoops, it's Ward. Doug Henry in second, Ezra Lusk in third, Jeremy McGrath in fourth, with Steve Lamson in fifth. Look out for that confrontation. Damon Huffman is after Lamson, and Michael Craig is number 15 behind Damon Huffman.
A lot different than last week. Both McGrath and Lamson, they are together. That's the same, but they're still up front. They can see the lead. I think these guys are going to be a little bit smarter and a little more careful around each other this time.
Well, they did speak during the week and kind of iron things out. Steve Lamson is not the kind of rider, Skip Norfolk, that would really be that aggressive.
No, we've never seen Steve do anything like that before as a teammate. And these guys are good friends. It'll take a lot more than one incident to break that up.
As Jeremy said after the race, it wasn't cool, though. Okay. Out in front. Here's Ward. Henry and Lusk right there with Team Yamaha. Jeremy McGrath and Steve Lamson, already a great rivalry after they were teammates. Oh, Lamson got hung up. And that gives some breathing room to Jeremy McGrath, who almost hooked it in the ruts. There's our leader, Larry Ward. Ward with one Supercross win in his career. It came in his native state of Washington, Seattle, Washington.
He's top 4, really starting to pull away. McGrath's got a little distance there. You see him go by on that awesome shot over the triple. Past a little distance on Lamson now. He's trying to stay hooked up with the front 3 guys. Henry around his teammate appears to be maybe the fastest guy on the racetrack right now. Really mad at himself last week for not having the fitness due to the flu to go up there and challenge Albertine. And he wants to redeem himself. Not that he needs to, but he wants to redeem himself with a win here tonight.
Well, he doesn't want Ward to get too far out in front, too. Ward was starting to pull a little lead while he was battling Lusk, his teammate. So we're spread out. Henry on the move, trying to catch Larry Ward. Ward's best finish last year was a second in Charlotte. In 1995, he ended up as an independent team rider, second in points. That's the highest ever. Here comes Henry. Ward trying to hold on. Ward's got the inside track as they go into the rutted area by the mechanics. And Larry Ward somehow held onto the lead. Can he do it through the whoops? Doug Henry just doesn't have the angle.
Right now, Larry Ward wants this bad. He jumped into that corner, grabbed a handful of throttle, and came out of there wide open. He's aggressive. He's not going to let this get away from him. Later in the race, though, we've seen Larry get tired, and you gotta give it to him. He's had his foot in a cast, so he hasn't had time to train.
But Skip, it looks like Larry Ward's taking a beating too on those jumps.
Well, you know, he can't. His legs and ankles aren't strong. He's going to have to use the rest of his body to make up for it. It could take its toll.
Adrenaline right here might be able to make up for it.
Henry to the inside, gets by Larry Ward cleanly. So it's Doug Henry, our leader, after a second place here with the Los Angeles Coliseum last week. Henry, Ward with Lusk on the move, and Jeremy McGrath in fourth with Lamson a distant fifth.
Jeremy's still about the same distance back from the leader now that it's Henry.
Here comes Lusk. Blowing by the Honda of Troy Ryder, who comes right back in the same area he came back against the leader, Henry. Yamaha can't hang on this time.
The Yamaha guys got that section dialed in. They followed each other all around in practice today, sharing each other's lines. Really seems to be paying off right now. Jeremy's still within distance. You got to think he's one of the guys that can get up and challenge the leaders.
Ward looks back. Look to see where McGrath is. As Jeremy McGrath is gunning for his first podium of the year. Has a little trick right there before going up to shoot to the peristyle. Giving Ward a break.
And the one thing that Jeremy has over his favor than anything else.
Emmy just getting back up on his bike. Go ahead, Skip.
Yeah, the one thing Jeremy has in his favor is the guys that have to look behind and see that #1 plate and get a little nervous. Jeremy doesn't have that to worry about. He is the guy making them nervous.
I think it's just more of a physical thing right now. Larry Ward just hoping that a good smooth ride will help him place in the top 10. McGrath now bar to bar. He's got the inside move as they go into the corner. Jeremy McGrath moves into third. He's got Team Yamaha in front of him. Lampson now moving up close to Larry Ward.
Well, Jeremy's got two of the fastest guys tonight out in front of him. It's going to be interesting to see how his speed is right now.
Doug Henry, just a phenomenal story. Can you believe the rehabilitation that he had to go through? Here's Lampson, Team Honda, number 4, coming up on the Honda of Troy of Larry Ward.
Just behind Lampson, Huffman, you'll see peek into the screen. He's starting to make up some time, hook up with his front group. He's still got his sights. He can see up to McGrath. Not out of the picture.
4 seconds back, Jeremy McGrath is in back of Doug Henry.
See a little fin on top of Jeremy's helmet. He and Henry both have them. It's a Troy Lee concoction. Just a little something to jazz up this Supercross. Looks like the Rocketeer.
Wyatt Seals, the new mechanic for Jeremy McGrath, putting down on the board. Skip, what do you think he's telling him?
Well, he's got to tell him, you know, there's plenty of time left in the race. Watch these guys and just get close and draw to them and maybe wait for them to make a mistake.
Doug Henry running pretty smooth out in front as we take a look at Jeremy McGrath currently in 3rd place. Really, there's no close action in the top 5.
Each lap, Jeremy starts to get a little bit smoother and a little bit faster through that whoop section. Drawing us a little bit closer to Lusk now. Those ruts in the corners are starting to get deep. Look at that one. The bike gets buried. Look at him getting bounced around in there.
Yeah, these ruts are going to play a big part in tonight's race.
They get deeper every lap.
Okay, with Jeremy McGrath trying to make a move on the 2 Yamaha riders. We'll be right back as the race for the checkers here in round 2 of our... Welcome back to the Los Angeles Coliseum, and we've got a battle for first place right now. Doug Henry is going to have a hard time holding back Ezra Lusk, number 11. Jeremy McGrath alone in 3rd. Lampson now in 4th as we're rejoined. Huffman is in 5th. Ward in 6th.
Both Henry and Lusk winning their heats. About the same elapsed times. These guys are really close in pace. Starting to close up, and McGrath's right there within striking distance. Actually lost a little bit of time in the peristyle that lap.
Well, both these riders just turning in tremendous performances here early in the season. Ezra Lusk, the 1994 125 champion, trying to follow another 2-time 125 champion from the East Coast, Doug Henry.
You see in our summary that Lampson and Huffman have both got around Larry Ward. There goes Button. Larry Ward really starting to fade now. He's not going to like this when this is over.
Well, and he probably can't help it either. I mean, he can't really blame himself when he came into these 2 positions, these 2 rounds, just trying to hold on to some points. And really, I don't think expected to be this competitive. Here's Henry and Lusk. Jeremy McGrath trying to pick up. But I'll tell you, these Yamaha guys are, even though they've got a battle going on, they're starting to pull a bigger lead on Jeremy, Skip.
Yeah, Jeremy makes some mistakes on this side of the track, and he's a little bit more aggressive on the far side of the track. He's going to have to fix that if he wants any chance of winning.
Well, that's where we're headed.
This is where Jeremy starts to pick up some time,
He's
which is a good
5 seconds down to Henry, David.
Now he's still got him up there in striking, well, not striking distance, but in sights. Remember, as this thing gets into the closing stages, they'll encounter some lap riders. That could play a part.
Ezra Lusk, of course, coming into the season said, hey, I really don't have a lot of expectation. I'm just going to try to be consistent as we take a look at the Honda stopwatch. Jeremy McGrath some 5 seconds in back.
You see Lamson, Button riding fantastic here tonight. He's hooked up with Lamson and Huffman. One of his better rides.
There you see Craig, Kudrowski 100, and then a big gap. Lamson and Huffman, 4th and 5th.
Skip, at this point in the race, Jeremy seems to be losing just a little bit of time. You think he would be happy with the podium after the way last week went?
No, I don't think Jeremy would ever be happy with the podium. He wants to win and win only.
It would be a nice step up, though.
Yes, you know, it would be a nice step, but these guys, all they want to do is win.
Specifically, Skip, what have they done to the Suzuki bike now? Because it looks like it's run better this week than last week.
It looks like they made some changes to the suspension mostly, and they added some power. They found some more power this week. More power is always good.
Okay, Henry now pulling away from Ezra Lusk. Look at the lap times. We'll check it out. Wow. 109.8. That sizzles.
Unbelievable.
Jimmy Button.
Button riding fantastic. Looked like he had the pass.
Oh, Button goes flying through the air in his battle with Damon Huffman.
That is a tricky section over there. It's the same thing that happened to Wynn in the same exact place. All the ruts in the faces really giving these riders fits.
A hard crash by Jimmy Button.
That's too bad. He was riding a fantastic race. Watch his front wheel right into a rut. Stops all of his momentum right over the handlebars. The bike
went right into his stomach.
Yeah, and the bike crushed him as he went over. Got nailed twice.
Our leader, number 20, Doug Henry. Henry's had a wonderful career. He's only won one Supercross race, and that was in a mud bath in Dallas, Texas, Irvine.
Well, given the fact that Albertine went down in the first corner, last week's winner, who beat Henry, way back in the pack. I think he's moved his way up to about 11th, as best we can tell. This will give Henry a big boost in the points battle.
Henry, his best after coming back from the back injury was a 5th place at Charlotte in '96, and then his 2nd place to open this season. He's now only 2 seconds ahead of Ezra Lusk, and here's the battle for 4th. Huffman and Lamson.
Lamson having to ride maybe a little bit more defensive now and protect his line for Huffman. That's allowed Jeremy a lot more space.
Lamson, after his confrontation with Jeremy McGrath in the first round, ended up in 12th place, while McGrath ended up in 15th.
Big turnaround from last weekend. These guys are actually in the race instead of not in it.
Big turnaround. Lamson knows what it's like to come from behind. Remember that 125 action with Ryan Hughes? 60 points down early in the 125 Nationals, and he came back to win it in the last moto over Ryan Hughes. Things are closing up for 2nd right now.
Lamson's got a little bit more distance on Huffman.
Lusk and Jeremy McGrath. McGrath is within a 1.5 seconds, and he's making up time on that far section, Skip. You're exactly right.
You know, he's really good in that technical stuff. When the ruts get there, it's more technical, and you saw Ezra kind of get a little bit out of shape in those ruts. It's pretty scary when the ruts get in these tracks.
Look at Jeremy's timing through the whoops. He made up all kinds of time right there.
Takes the inside rut, and Jeremy get the torque now. Lusk looking back. Not a good sign. Unless you're Jeremy McGrath.
Well, if you're McGrath, that's what you want to see.
Let's go down to Davey Coombs.
Okay, thanks. You guys, I'm down here with Wyatt. Wyatt, you got about 7 laps to go. He's going after Lusk. What are you going to tell him?
Well, man, I just hope he's as fired up as I am. I'm just trying to keep him motivated and keep him going smooth. He seems to taste a little blood right now. If I can get him by Lusk, and maybe he can get on Henry before it's over.
Hey, the crowd doesn't even know where Henry is. The crowd is narrowed in on this battle for 2nd place. No question about it.
Well, you got to wonder what's going to be going through Henry's mind if he turns around and sees that yellow number 1 back there. He may ride a little different.
Lusk, more points than I've ever seen him display.
Now he's riding fantastic. It looks like they've got a really good relationship. All the guys over at Yamaha getting along great, sharing their lines with each other. That's very unusual for a team when you're...
Well, all the crowd except for those 2 going to the restroom really intent. Henry, our leader. Here's Ezra Lusk still holding on to 2nd place. Jeremy McGrath Just can't rattle him like the old days. It used to be Jeremy would come up on Ezra Lusk, and Ezra just couldn't handle it. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, Lusk loves this Yamaha bike.
This is 97, whole new season. Lusk riding with a lot more poise and confidence.
He was telling me over in Europe, guys, that he just felt better just getting on it the first time.
Change sometimes is good.
Lots of rebound, that time on Jeremy McGrath.
Jeremy had kind of a neat line right back there. He hopped over the ruts. In the heat race, it looked like to me he got tight. Maybe his arms pumped up, and he wasn't taking very good lines. He was hitting all the holes. Now he's hopping over them all. He's got a great rhythm. The problem is, the two Yamaha guys are doing the same thing, so it's really tough for him to make up time.
The only battle we have now is for Foyt. 5 laps to go. Does Jeremy have enough time to catch Ezra Lusk? Here's the battle now for Foyt. David Huffman trying to get the edge on Steve Lamson. Here comes Huffman to the inside. Oh, it's a tight space. He backs off, puts on the brakes. Up the chute they go to the peristyle. David Huffman, though's got some good torque. He's holding with him.
Really tough to pass this year. It's not all, they always say the track's tough to pass on, but there's plenty of ruts out here, places to make mistakes and choose different lines, and you should be able to pass, but everyone's riding so good this year. You really just have to keep the pressure on and hope for a mistake or get real aggressive.
Jeremy McGrath came down within 1.5 bike lengths of the second place rider Ezra Lusk, but now has dropped back to about 5 or 6. We check out the action with Damon Huffman and Steve Lamson.
Well, you know, these two guys are getting ready to come up to this hoop section. Probably two of the best in this area. Let's see what happens.
No matter what happens in this race, we'll have a new points leader going to Phoenix next week.
Lamson smooth through there that time. Got a nice rhythm. Huffman hit a few bumps in there he shouldn't have hit. Lost some momentum. These guys have been
Jeremy's having some problems. Almost looks like he's got arm pump again.
It's kind of hard to say from up here, you know, kind of looking at his elbows is a good decision or a good place to look.
This battle right here, if Huffman can stay there, that's just going to wear on Lamson. You really don't want to have to be worried about a guy behind you. You want to get up there and challenge the 3 in front of you. At one point, he was pretty close, but they've really dropped off now. I think maybe the pace up front is picked up with Jeremy putting the pressure on him.
You know, I got to give credit to Larry Ward, too. He is still in 6th place in this race, even though he's not been competitive with the leaders.
Now, with a pin in your ankle, it's pretty tough to train, and I would have expected him to fade a little bit later in the race, but I think he got ready to ride a pace that he was comfortable with, and the pace tonight's a lot faster than it was last week.
Here's Henry, our leader, number 20. And he's lost a little ground to Ezra Lusk. As Lusk has gained on McGrath behind him, he's also gained on our leader, Doug Henry. Boy, everybody having trouble coming out of that corner.
Well, now the inside rut's gotten so deep, there's another rut to the outside of it that's become the main line. I think that the fluctuation in whether they make up or lose time on each other is just due to mistakes. No one's really going a lot faster anywhere. It's just if they blow it somewhere, they lose a little time, and then they make it back up when the other guy blows it.
Doug Henry with 1 Supercross win. Ezra Lusk with no Supercross wins yet. And, of course, Jeremy McGrath, what is it now, 43?
43.
43 Supercross wins. That's more than the total of Team Suzuki. Larocco and Emig. Larocco with a slow start. Emig crashed, and they both met each other on the turf.
You can see how deep that rut is. I think they're both going for the same thing. Huffman's still keeping the pressure on Lamson. Would expect Huffman to really get this whoop section dialed in and make up time here, but he hasn't been able to do it. Now he's starting to do the same thing as Lamson, but that's not going to make up any time. Oh, Lamson off the track.
Lamson down, and he's not getting up very quickly either. This could be a very bad break, very bad for Team Honda after his poor performance of the first round.
Here it is again. Lamson up the finish line jump. Gets cross-rutted. He's not doing that on purpose. He comes up short, right into the hay bales, almost hits the guy there taking photos. And he's in a tough spot. You can't get up from there. He's stuck under the bike.
And so Huffman moves up a position into 4th. And we're back with our leader, Henry. It's Henry, Lusk, McGrath, Huffman, and Larry Ward now has moved up to 5th. So a simple ride for points has turned into a gangbusters thing for Larry Ward. Here's number 20, Doug Henry. Number 11, Ezra Lusk. Still playing it cool. He fought off the pressure of Jeremy McGrath, but it looks like he might get some pressure once again from Jeremy. As they go into the whoop section, white flag lap, final lap. What can happen? Jeremy McGrath looked at that white flag as he went by, and they're down pretty much to a 3-way bike battle. Anything can happen right now. Doug Henry keeping his cool.
Something interesting that you may notice is LaRocco is the next guy that they're going to lap, the teammate of Jeremy McGrath, and you got to wonder if he might make it a little tough for the Yamaha guys.
A lot of people were saying, hey, this is such a competitive season. Could we see 7 or 8 different winners throughout the year? It started off that way, isn't it, David?
Absolutely. You got 10 guys potentially that could win this thing.
Still anything can happen. Henry, Lusk, won both qualifying heats. They are 1-2 as the flashbulbs pop here in the Los Angeles Coliseum. Jeremy McGrath losing some ground now in 3rd.
Henry's got just a little bit of lead. You need that. No mistakes, and it should be his.
You're just going into this hoop section going, pick the right rut.
Here comes Lusk. Here comes Lusk. Can he go to the inside on the hoops? Can he get a good line on Henry? Henry looks strong. Doug Henry wins his 2nd Supercross. Ezra Lusk, a very credible 2nd place finish. And Jeremy McGrath is on the podium. We will be back to hear the words from these guys in a moment.
If the hassle of paying your bills puts...
Buddy, I'm here with Doug Henry, a surprise winner. Congratulations.
Thanks very much, Davey. I've been waiting for this for a awfully long time, and gosh, it couldn't have happened at a better time.
I know the first time you won, it was in Dallas. It was a mud race. This time, it's completely legit. It was dry. Everyone was here. You the man.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I just wanted to, like I said before, I wanted to come out here, and you know, this year is I'm hoping. You know, I've been working really hard, and you know, last year was really tough, and it was a comeback year, and I feel like I'm ready this year, and this just proves that I am.
I'd say so. Congratulations, Doug.
A young man I never thought would race again. Doug Henry, his 2nd Supercross win. Let's take a look at the end results after this tremendous slow-mo of these 2 teammates. Lusk, his best finish in Supercross history, a 2nd. McGrath 3rd. Huffman, Ward, Craig, Tortelli, Albertine, Kudrowski, Lampson, and Dowd is the list that I have unofficially as we take a look at our Suzuki scoreboard. Unbelievable.
Well, you can see
how this has taken place.
How happy those Yamaha guys are. Lusk's best finish. He'd probably like to have won, but to see his teammate out there, those guys are ecstatic.
Let's take a look at the point standings now. Henry will move into the points lead with 47 points. Ward hanging on. He had 35 points. Lusk moving up to 38 points. And McGrath now 26 to go with those 6 points that he got in the first round. He still has a little ways to climb, Skip.
Yeah, you know, Jeremy, he does have some work ahead of him, but it looks like he's going to be able to work on that bike and get that thing better. I think he learned a lot about his bike this weekend.
He certainly did. That's for sure. I'll tell you, these Team Yamaha guys learned a lot about their bikes, too. Okay, Art Ekman for David Bailey, Davey Coombs, and Skip Norfolk. Hope you enjoyed the action while we invite you to join us for round 3 next week from Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona.